Hello everyone, this is Siddiqur Rahman and welcome to the fourth lecture of the second week. So let's begin. By the end of this lecture, you guys will be able to describe hexadecimal number system. So let's move into the next slide. This lecture or this I repeat again, this slide represents the overall outline of this lecture. You may learn from this lecture such as hexadecimal number system, hexadecimal, example of hexadecimal number, application of hexadecimal number system, characteristics of hexadecimal number system, and so on. So let's move into the next slide. First, we would like to learn the overview of hexadecimal number system. So let's start. Hexadecimal number system is one of the type of number representation techniques in which their value of base is 16. That means there are only 16 symbols or possible digit values. There are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and after this number 6 alphabets are using for this hexadecimal number system, such as A, B, C, D, E, F, where A, B, C, D, E and F are single bit representation of decimal value 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 respectively. It requires only 4 bits to represent value of any digit. Hexadecimal numbers are indicated by the addition of either an 0x prefix and or an H suffix. Well, position of every digit has a weight which is a power of 16. Each position in the hexadecimal system is 16 times more significant than the previous position. Well, that means numeric value of an hexadecimal number is determined by multiplying each digit of the number by the value of the position in which the digit appears and then adding the products. So it is also a positional, or you can say weighted number system like octal one. So let's move into the next slide. Now from this slide we may learn what is hexadecimal. So let's begin. The word hexadecimal means based on 16. Well, inside of the parenthesis, from Greek, hexa means 6 and Latin decima means a 10th part. Hexadecimal describes a base 16 number system. That is, it describes a numbering system containing 16 sequential numbers as base units inside of the parenthesis including 0. Well, before adding a new position for the next number, note that we are using 16 here as a decimal number to explain a number that would be 10 in hexadecimal. Then hexadecimal numbers are 0 to 9 and then use the letters A to F. We already know that from the previous slide. So let's move into the next slide. From this slide, we may learn about the example of hexadecimal number. So let's begin. I repeat again, an hexadecimal number uses only the 16 digits. We already know. But again, I repeat, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, A, B, C, D, E, and F. You can have a look at the following figure. If you look at the following figure, or figure 1 represents the hexadecimal number, and in here B2E6B, and this 16 represents the base of the hexadecimal number. As we already know that hexadecimal number has a base of 16, that's why we are using 16 as a base in this number. So let's move into the next slide. Now from this slide we may learn the applications of hexadecimal number system. So let's begin. Hexadecimal number is commonly used in computer programming and microprocessors. It is also helpful to describe colors of web pages. Each one sorry, I repeat again, each of the three primary colors such as, or that is, red, green and blue is represented by two hexadecimal digits to create 255 possible values, thus resulting in more than 16 million possible colors. Hexadecimal number system is used to describe locations in memory for every byte. These hexadecimal numbers are also easier to read and write than binary or decimal numbers for computer professionals. Some of the uses, or you may say, some of the applications of hexadecimals are as follows. Number one, to define locations in memory. Hexadecimals can characterize every byte as two hexadecimal digits only compared to 8 digits when using library. Next one, to define colors on web pages. Each primary color such as red, green and blue is characterized by two hexadecimal digits. The format being used is hashtag RRGGBB. RR stands for red, GG stands for green and BB stands for blue. So let's move into the next slide. This slide is a continuation of the previous slide, and we already know that the previous slide represents the applications of hexadecimal system. So let's begin the rest of the application from this slide. To represent media access control, which is also known as MAC addresses. I think you guys know these things, right? So each primary color such as red, green and blue is characterized by two hexadecimal digits. The format being used is hashtag RRGGBB. RR stands for red, GG stands for green and BB stands for blue. Last one, to display error messages. Hexadecimals are used to define the memory locations of the error. This is useful for programmers in finding and fixing errors. Now we can move into the next slide. From this slide we came to learn the characteristics of hexadecimal system, such as it uses 10 digits and 6 letters, as we already know this. Next one, letters represent numbers starting from 10, which is A is equals to 10, B is equals to 11, C is equals to 12, D is equals to 13, E is equals to 14 and F is equals to 15. This is also called base 16 number system. Next one, each position in an hexadecimal number represents a 0 power of the base 16, such as 16 to the power 0. Last position in an hexadecimal number represents an x power of the base 16. Example, 16 to the power x, where x represents the last position minus 1. So let's move into the next slide. From this slide we came to know, or we may learn, the advantages of hexadecimal number system. So let's begin. Number one, it is very concise, and by using a base of 16 means that the number of digits used to signify a given number is usually less than in binary or decimal. It allows you to store more information using less space. Next one, it is fast and simple to convert between hexadecimal numbers and binary. Hexadecimal can be used to write large binary numbers in just a few digits. Next one, it makes life easier as it allows grouping of binary numbers, which makes it easier to read, write and understand. It is more human friendly as humans are used to grouping together numbers and things for easier understanding. Also, writing in less digits lowers the possibility of error occurring. So let's move into the next slide. From this slide we may learn the disadvantages of hexadecimal number system. So let's begin. It may not an easy to read and write for people, and also difficult to perform operations like multiplications, divisions using hexadecimal number system. Hexadecimal numbers is the most difficult number system for dealing with computers data. So let's move into the next slide. From this slide we may learn the symbol of hexadecimal system. All the numbers in hexadecimal system are represented using 16 characteristics from 0 to 9 and A to F, including these numbers. So figure 2 represent the symbols of hexadecimal numbers. So let's move into the next slide. In the next lecture you will learn number system conversion. So let's move into the next slide. So that's all for this lecture. Thank you so much for your attention. See you guys in the next lecture, and always remember, stay safe and stay at home. Thank you.